It's going great, man. The cross the cross Pacific battle. Yeah. There's some I played Dasuke. Um, I've played I played a guy from Connecticut this week. So yeah, we're getting around. Good players
Excellent.
too.
Excellent. Apologize, chat, for having my mic muted, but I'm back. So you got to see my face, and that's about it. But yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten to play any of the international players this league so far, but I played against a few of them before in the leagues. It's been a lot of fun to have them join. So we're excited to be able to bring some of them on camera because it's kind of hard with the time schedules to kind of get them aligned.
Yep.
Dasuke was saying he just woke up, had breakfast, and now he's streaming. So the
It
match, the game is afoot.
looks like we're off. Yeah. What does that land for the rack?
That looks
The
like a
swamp?
swamp.
Okay. For some reason I thought it was the plains.
Right. The right kind of swamp and the right kind of glare could be plains. Plains into the rack would be unique, right?
That'd be a situation.
But it looks like we're a swamp into rack, followed by a fairy conclave into second swamp in tomb, probably for another spirit. Yeah, that looks like another spirit. So we're probably on a pox deck or something.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, that's exciting. We haven't seen pox around in a while.
Now, this will be an interesting matchup because if I remember correctly, Dasuke is on like red blue counterburn strategy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. That
It's very spicy.
I mean, the counter spell's bad in a top deck war when we're all hell bent. Burn spell's good in when we're all hell bent. So a little bit of a push pull there. But
I think really what Brian's going to be fighting for, if in fact he's on Pox, is just land destruction.
sure.
There's not a
Absolutely.
lot of permanents that Dasuke is going to leave out for us. We got the unmask here.
As our unmasked pitching what looks like maybe Coffin Purge. Yep.
Yep. Main deck Coffin Purge. Okay.
I like it. And that makes sense. You can entomb for it, when needed. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Counterspell, mana leak. What's the red blue 5?
Prophetic Bolt? Yeah.
Fire ice. Yeah, prophetic bolt's dangerous.
It is. I really love the land choice of Daisuke. His basic lands look beautiful. It's my favorite mountain art, so I'm biased.
Are
But
those the Dominaria reprints?
I believe so.
Yeah, the color pops. Is that a factory on Brian's side there?
It looks like it is a factory. So,
Okay.
Daisuke reveals his hand. We remove the prophetic bolt. Daisuke gets to untap, plays, basic land. We've got all three colors. And we're, representing the known counterspell, a mana leak, or fire and ice. So Daisuke has a lot of options here. Not inclined to really play his cards with the rack out, but this
he's in a good position. Just sit back and wait.
Yeah. If we can find a way to deal with another spirit, then that'll be a great long-term plan. But, Daisuke's going to fall down to 18 after an attack, and I think Espinosa now is just, knows he can get in. So I think we're going to sacrifice this factory here.
Right.
Just throw that under the bus into this fire and ice.
If we're on Pox, 3 lands, 4 lands, what's the difference?
Sure.
Well, actually, sorry. Huge difference. 2 down versus 1. Excuse me.
Well.
And there's the tap out. What is that?
That is AK.
AK. Okay.
Accumulated knowledge.
End of turn AK. Got it.
That actually feels kind of good. If we can spend the turn fire and icing a land and then getting to cash in the AK now. That actually doesn't look too bad. We follow up with our own factory.
Getting some of those cards turned face down again, too.
Yeah. Factory checks the Nether Spirit quite nice.
What's the artifact he just played?
That is Curse Scroll.
Curse Scroll. Okay. Oh wow.
Uh,
It's 2 cards.
Curse Scroll. Notably, we've got 4 lands, 2 cards in hand, so we might be able to do something.
Okay.
We're going to counterspell the Curse Scroll. All right.
Okay. He's off blue mana, so this is the opening for
Pox.
Fox if it's coming. There it
Pox.
is.
Here it is.
Yeah.
All right. So we
Good
are
call,
all blue
Robert.
mana, and we have some decisions now on what's going to happen. So this is a good time. I'm going to pull up Pox on camera here. Let's see, because we don't get to see that often enough.
Life totals are worth mentioning here. Brian got him for 5 life there, bringing him down to 9.
That is important to notice. So Pox here, each player loses a third of their life, then discards a third of the cards in their hand, then sacrifices a third of the creatures they control, and then sacrifices a third of the lands they control, round up. So that notably is going to put Daisuke well into the rack territory. And
what does Daisuke have left? 2?
I believe 2 cards in hand. We're going to play them? What are we doing? We can't play them. We'll just get bolted out of it into oblivion.
Whenever a red player starts tapping the table counting like that, I get real nervous.
Okay, so that's what we're discarding. Okay, so we discard 2 lands. We have 2 cards in hand, 2 unknowns. Okay. Those are the lands we chose to get rid of.
All the blue lands, yeah.
All right, so we just resolved Pox there. Okay, now I'm caught up, chat. Okay, so we have AK, which is real good with this the rack trigger on the stack. We can draw 2 cards, go to 3, preserve our life total, and pass. Draw a card. Well, draw a card for turn. Okay, now we're representing Counterspell. We get the Nether Spirit back, but
yeah, there's a lot going on here.
We have a turn to untap with the Factory. We may pull out of this.
Double rack.
Okay. Espinosa Hellbent.
Double rack's not doing anything for him.
Nah, but you know we're still dangerously close. You know, these burn style decks want to like cast all the cards, in one go to like really like utilize your mana at the end step, but we can't do that because we'll kill ourselves if we do.
It would Brian be on Hymn to Turok? Probably. That would be great.
I would hope so. Hymn to Turok is definitely a card that middle school Pox decks get to pick up that you otherwise wouldn't have. So, okay, this is really big. Daisuke tries to block with his Mistress Factory. Espinosa says, no, I'd like to make you sacrifice it. And Daisuke does have the counterspell. Okay. So, or the mana leak in this case, so he's able to block profitably.
Well, and he knew he had that. Because he didn't discard it.
Well, after Pox resolved, I guess we weren't certain, but I guess we can see that there isn't a mana leak in the yard.
We didn't see it.
Yeah, that's true.
We knew he had it in his hand. I mean,
that's fair. But at least now it's gone, and we can see. So Brian trying to attack with a summoning sick Nether Spirit. Daisuke reminding him that it is not quite ready to rumble. And it looks like we're going to see a fact or fiction.
There it is. Oh boy.
Ooh, okay. So we've got. That's a good fact.
To see it.
That's a pretty good fact or fiction in this state. You've got Double Fire and Ice, Force of Will, Mistress Factory. All right, Angelo, what would you pick? What's your pile look like?
I like what I'm seeing, the Factory and Fire Ice in one, and the Force in the other two. But I also feel like giving him Force and a blue card really kind of chokes up your options. So I might put Force and Factory in one pile, and the Island and the 2 Fire Ices in the other. That's probably wrong though. So
I mean, if you've got 2 racks on the board, you want to incentivize the most cards being the worst cards. So putting 2 Fire and Ices in a land in one pile seems too good for Daisuke. I'd rather just give him lands.
That's true with the double rack. Like, go ahead, cast force.
Right.
It's a
Yeah,
spell.
I
I dare
think
you.
I think force and blue card is fine. You know, giving him a counter. I mean, giving him counter spell is unfortunate, but you know, giving him lands. You know, playing the lands puts you at risk of the rack. Not playing lands just gives you lands in hand. So it's kind of a tough spot to be.
It's a rack pillow for it if you hold them.
Yeah. But hey, you know, that was a good factor fiction. So it looks like we're going to rumble. Okay, so Espinosa's down to 11. So maybe we're saying, hey, look, we've got a Fire and Ice in hand. Maybe we have some other burn spells. You know, we do have another factory on blocking duty, so we have time to get aggressive. Okay, so yeah, we're going to tap. Okay,
It's a draw a card, right?
we get to draw a card and blockers get out of the way, so we could theoretically swing in here for 6 if we have another land drop.
I'll say he needs one more mana for that.
Yeah.
I also think this might be a good time to just remind everybody that you can cast Force of Will for 5 mana.
This is true. This is true. All right, so we have the land drop. Are we going to see the battle for 6? Trying to close this game out? We're just going to be conservative here.
Yeah.
Just 2. Okay.
Well, he's got... How many cards does Daisuke have now?
I believe 3. Maybe 4.
Enough to be slightly scary.
Yeah, definitely enough to represent, you know, bolts. We have to assume that there's bolts in this deck. We haven't seen any. Espinosa is definitely at, you know, a life total that is weak to bolt now. So
Facts.
Counterspell, the Unmask.
Oof.
All right, so we don't get to see. So Daisuke likes that counterspell. I don't like that counterspell because as commentary, I want to see his hand. I want to know what's happening.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the art on that counterspell, and I was going to also agree with that.
We can take it that route, sure.
Okay, getting in for 2. Did he block?
I assume.
Yeah, he blocked and
we pumped. Okay. That looked like an instant blood. So.
Okay, so he blocked, took the L, and instant blooded it out.
Okay.
And now we're countering with intuition.
Yeah, so we're forced to willing that to keep that because otherwise we have to sacrifice a Mishra's Factory. So that's gonna put Daisuke down to 1 card. So he on his upkeep he's going to take 4.
And he's at 6.
Yeah, that's real bad. So he's gonna have to find like a bolt. If we have a bolt and a land, we can attack for 6 and then bolt for the 3 more damage.
He might already have the bolt, right?
He could. He absolutely.
Although he probably would have cast it because of needing mana.
Okay, well he makes a land drop.
All right, we're doing things.
So we're attacking for 6. We're leaving a mountain up. Is this a bolt?
Oh no!
Is this a bolt? It's a bolt! Oh my gosh! Oh, he got there. He threaded the needle. Wow.
So what was the top deck there? Because he had to tap out to do that. So did he go? Was he tapped out at the end of Brian's last turn and couldn't cast the bolt?
Yeah, I think he. I'm going to assume he had the bolt and he was trying to top deck land. Although it is more epic if you top deck the bolt.
We're gonna have to ask him.
I want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know.
Did you top deck the island or top deck the bolt to win? I think he had the bolt. We weren't paying enough attention to his mana management to see. Chad, if you saw that, did he have the mountain up to do that at end of Brian's turn? Because that would have been loco. Just like counting on the top deck.
I think he. I mean, if you have the bolt in hand, unless you're tapping out, you have the option to bolt and to turn and attack for 6 to know that you're winning.
Right.
So interesting. Wow. That was pretty cool.
No, Kai made the point perfectly. If he had cast that bolt, he would have died to the double rack.
Oh, yes.
So he had to hold on to it.
That is a very good reason to have not cast the bolt, you know. So, all right.
This This is why I lose matches by casting spells at the wrong time. 'Cause you get really good ideas that aren't good.
What kind of experience do you have doing that?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, okay, so if we're the Mono Black Pox player, we probably have a lot of fun tools to kind of bring in for this kind of control, like maybe more duresses, discard, those types of things.
You know what took me over the top was Haunting Echoes. I really hope Brian has a copy or two of that, because
yes.
he's got a lot of 4-ofs, and you get 10, 15 cards in the graveyard, and that just really takes the wind out of his sails.
If you've, I don't think I've ever resolved a Haunting Echoes, and I feel like I'm missing out, because
That's literally how I managed to beat Daisuke. I cast it in both games I won.
wow. Okay. I love it. It is. I think it's criminally underplayed in some of these black decks, because you can bring it in against a lot of different things, and it's good. It is a good card.
Non-basic lands. So like when I did it against him, I
Ooh.
took his factories out, and so that took out a lot of his avenues to win.
Sure.
And if you think about it, really, he's got a couple prophetic bolts, the lightning bolts, factories, and conclaves. That's his damage.
Yeah.
So he's awfully reliant on those man lands and those spells being timed correctly to get to 0. So
Sure.
Brian has a way to disrupt those lands. I don't know if he's running Wasteland, Dust Bowl.
Pox gets rid of land.
Pox also gets rid of land, but it's fielder's choice.
Well, this is true.
But yeah, there's potential here depending on what the sideboard looks like.
Chad is asking what you were playing when you played the match.
I was playing the Rock.
If you catch some of our previous streams, you can see Angelo play that deck as well. I believe also it is a similar list that has been in our previous events as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I won a copy of the deck from it was Brian Hockey's deck.
I love it.
And then I didn't want everybody to see the gold border with Hockey's signature and Hockey's awkward basic land art choices, and just have people know my list. So I just rebuilt it with 2 cards changed.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
I'm here for that. I think it's funny that he made a gold bordered version of that deck.
Well, it's just to commemorate, the champs. I've got a few Romancing the Stone championship decks, actually. I think I have 2 vintage ones and 2 middle school ones right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm here for that.
In the battle box, man.
All right, so players look like they have finished resolving their mulligans, and it looks like they are resetting their life totals. Perfect. And we're going to get to game 2 here shortly. Chat saying that they want a gold bordered version of Angelo's copy of Hockey's deck.
Well, Kyle, show you how to do it.
Step 1, you got to win. If you win, then we can make it happen.
Definitely
no pressure. All right, we're going to start off here with a Cabal Therapy, and do we hit? It looks like
what's he naming?
No, I don't see any fast movements. So it looks like that's a Mog Salvage, an Overload, 4 lands, and the Fire and Ice.
Wow,
I'm impressed that I can see that I know these cards right now.
I recognize Mog Salvage. What does Overload do?
Overload. I love Overload. We're gonna pull this up on.
What did he name?
He named something that missed. I would assume maybe Lightning Bolt, Counterspell, Force of Will, something like that. Overload is a 1 mana instant that lets you destroy an artifact if its converted mana cost is 2 or less. If you pay the kicker, For 2, you can destroy something that costs 5 instead, 5 or less. So for 3 mana, it kills most everything you care about. For 1 mana, it gets rid of your rack, it gets rid of Phyrexian Dreadnoughts, gets rid of scrolls, gets rid of a lot of good things.
Scroll rack, powder keg.
Yep. It's a good card. So
defense grid costs 2 or 3?
Defense grid costs 2.
Winter Orb.
Yep.
I don't see enough Winter Orb.
So Mog's Salvage, similar card. It does destroy artifacts, but you can play it without its mana cost if you control an island, or if your opponent controls an island and you control a mountain.
So he really wants to get rid of these artifacts.
He does. So that tells me he's diversified his maybe sideboard a little bit, and he just wants all of those effects right now.
Right, he just wants to get the artifacts off the board.
Now, notably, it looks like we cast an Unmask, and we went straight for the Overload. So that tells me, wow, we're saving the Mishra's Factory, because Overload will beat up a Mishra's Factory real fast.
That's also true. Didn't even think of that.
Chat saying that Sphere of Resistance also gets hit by Overload.
Yeah, keep going, guys.
Yeah, Mox Diamond, you can get rid of those.
Null
Rods. So I think Overload is a great in slot, for that sort of thing.
Well, it's a good effect. I mean, when you get a format as big as middle school, like there's not a lot of artifacts that cost more than 2 that you're playing.
Yeah, I think the most common one is probably Masticore.
Right.
And it regenerates, so your destroy effects sort of hit or miss. Best answer is probably Pillage, but
did Dasuke get in there? Or did he tap to? Oh, he cast ice on a land.
Yeah, I believe we cast ice. So the game, continues here. It looks like Espinosa has we pitched a Drain Life. That tells me there might be a Necropotence somewhere in Espinosa's deck.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to continue trying to fight Dasuke's hand here, but we don't have any real pressure. And Dasuke's going to send in a Mishra's Factory.
No pressure, and he can't seem to get to 3. Oh,
Jonker. The cat. The cat has entered the battlefield. Sensing weakness.
The cheaty face.
Yeah. We fired the factory, chat said, so that's what happened. So it's right. Like icing a land, only better, because the land never untaps. All right, so Espinosa is going to attempt to cast a Pox and do a counter check here.
I smell Mana Leak.
I smell resolving. Oh, nope. Oh. Okay. We have the Force. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we got rid of 2 cards and a life. From Pox. Okay, so it sort of did what Pox is supposed to do, just
like 1/6 of everything.
Yeah. Espinosa needs to find a rack. That's what he needs to find, some sort of repeatable source of damage.
The rack's gone as soon as he plays it because of the Mog Salvage.
So we need to find 2 rack.
We need to find 2 racks.
Okay, so we have a Phyrexian Furnace. That's going to check.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, it gets rid of the Cabal Therapy now, and it's going to check the Spirit down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like the door is shutting. Is going to start shutting real quickly for Espinosa here, if we can't find something. So we do find a Curse Scroll, which will eventually eat a Mog Salvage, probably. Maybe Dasuke doesn't care about
that
it.
Than a rack. Are you happy to see that go, or do we want that because we can kill the factories?
We don't have to allow it to kill the factories. We could attack with 1 factory. Right. If he tries to shoot it, we could pump. We could play that game. I think and then if we do that too, Espinosa 1 is using his mana every turn and isn't removing cards from his hand. So eventually the scrolls could become ineffectual. But Um, I don't think the scroll is really going to be what we want here. We can make some desperation plays with it, maybe. It does complicate some of the arithmetic for Dasuka here.
Let's see in the land drop. Come on. Come on, Brian.
Powder keg. Ooh, that is a good one.
That is a good one.
That will answer the opposing mistress factories here. It's going to eat a Mog Salvage, though. Oh, no, it's going to eat a Force of Will.
Cast for 5.
Okay. Interesting. So, Dasuka's down to 2 cards now, which means he either has to be, very aggressive here, because, one rack could really catch up the life totals real fast. All right, preserving our colored mana, coming in for 2. Brian drops down to 14.
I smell a Factor Fiction.
Ooh, that would be very good here.
But, guess you wouldn't really need to save the colored mana for that, but...
No, but we're going to have another powder keg. So if he's got a Factor Fiction, we'll see if it... No, he's just going to let it hit. So we're not going to Factor Fiction in response if that's what we have.
Okay. Well.
That's fine, because like if Brian has... Like if you miss on the counter spell, and like you need exactly 4, so you've already used 2 forces. So I think that's fine. And you don't walk yourself into another Cabal therapy by revealing the card you've just drawn. All right, so we will Mog Salvage the second powder keg, which is really unfortunate because I think those are some of Espinosa's best cards.
Yeah, I can't think of what else is going to really get him out of this situation except for an Edict.
Edict would be very good. We don't have the mana for it, but I mean, if we have a Wasteland, in the deck, it's possible we could have Wastelands in this Pox deck. I'd be willing to believe it. Or now the coast is clear for a rack to get in. I mean, Dasuka only has 1 card.
He's holding up 5 mana.
He is holding up 5 mana. All right, so Espinosa has 4 land. What are we going to do? We're going to play a rack. Okay, so we have that, and now we have scroll mana and 1 card in hand. So
Force of Will? No.
Intuition.
Okay.
For counterspell?
Just triple counterspell?
Yeah, because Mana Leak doesn't do it here. We have the 3 mana.
Right.
And
I guess it is.
Oh, no, we could do this for AK, right? And just like draw a bunch of cards and then just get out of the rack.
Also, that he's got an AK in the grave already.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go.
Dasuka knows what's up. He knows his deck better than I do.
He ain't scared no rack.
All right. I really hope the last card in Espinosa's hand is Pox.
God only knows what Dasuke is going to draw.
So we're going to go ahead and draw 3 cards.
3?
Should be
is
3.
The one AK... Oh, the AK got removed to cast Force, right?
Yes.
I thought he had that set aside to count. Okay.
Yeah. But it looks like we don't have any real follow-up.
That's not what Daisuke's deck does, man. He just waits for end of your turn.
Well, I mean, like follow-up from Espinosa. I mean, like we've got three land in a card, so it's clearly a Scroll Rock or Curse Scroll fodder. But that's still good enough because it's going to make Daisuke. He requires 3 land to attack now. Which still puts a strain on, kind of what's going on in his world.
Right. You can still cast Factor Fiction.
Kitty paws on Espinosa's side there. Love to see it. Definitely, I get the sense that Daisuke really feels comfortable with this deck and knows exactly what his plan is.
Mm-hmm.
But we could still be just a card or two away. You know, like if we
Gosh.
don't have a counterspell, like this could be an edict, and edict would be very strong.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's,
so
he's not going to show it to us.
well, Brian being smart and not activating the curse scroll until after damage.
Post combat,
Um,
yeah.
so reveal and unmask. Okay. Did we? We must have gone for Daisuke for the dome there,
Sure.
not for.
I mean, if you're going to take the damage,
I still would have like used it to maybe tap down the other factory. I don't know, like make sure that he can't hardcast force or have extra mana.
fair.
Him to Turok is a
There it
good
is.
good
He's
first
not going to
step.
let that. Not going to let that resolve. Is
That's
this another
tapping 3
intuition?
mana. That's not counterspell. That's
Oh
intuition.
boy! All right,
This could be for mana leak.
you think so?
Um,
Oh, what?
we're gonna go for islands. Okay.
Okay, weird.
I mean, it just
Yeah, he's trying to pad his hand to hopefully discard an island. Weird strategy, but okay.
well, that is interesting because all we did was replace the intuition with an island.
Yeah. Huh.
All right, so we got 4 cards. We're gonna do this the old-fashioned way, and we pick those 2 cards. Island, okay.
Oh, island
So
back.
we island and Grand Coliseum there. Okay, interesting.
Huh. Well, that seems like that worked out pretty well for Daisuke.
Yeah, I'm curious
Minus
what he has
the
in his hand.
rack and play. And he can still draw a card off the furnace if he really needs to.
This is true. He does take a point of damage, so we got in something there. Curious.
Conclave. Okay. Yeah. Curse
All
scroll's
right.
off. So
Curse grows off, so yeah, coast is clear. We know the last card is an unmask, so we're not going to get edicted this turn. So
right.
Espinosa falls down to 6, and this is really the turn he needs to come back because we need something here. Second curse scroll is not going to do it. So this could be deterministic. If Daisuke just attacks for 6, one of his creatures will get shot, but Brian will fall down to 2, and we will still have 2 creatures who attack the turn after and get through the
Also,
curse scrolls.
lightning bolts and fires and
Oh,
prophetic bolt.
yeah, not even to say any cards that Daisuke could draw.
So I think this is very much Daisuke's to lose.
Sure. And we even drew another man land here.
Oh boy.
And so he's gonna be I'm gonna say conservative here and only attack with 2 of his 3 man lands.
Well, and he's got the backup mainland to save, so
yeah, now we at least have some
safe play.
lands to cast spells. Yeah, so we're gonna try shooting one of the no, we're just gonna shoot Daisuke. Okay.
Base, yeah.
Sure. I don't know why, but I still would want to go for the lands. Maybe that's incorrect. All right.
I mean, you just save it. It'd be a wasted shot.
Powder keg. It would be. Well, I mean, taps a land. I don't know if tapping a land is worthwhile, but all right. Powder keg 3. Do we have a third powder keg?
Powder keg does what? Buys him a turn?
Yeah, buys him.
I'm not feeling very good about Brian's chances, obviously.
I want to see game 3 of Pucks because I don't think we see Pucks enough.
Well, if we cast Pox, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Daisuke has to sack 3 lands.
Yeah, but all he has to do is keep 1 land in a Mishra's Factory, and that's good enough.
Not enough.
All right, so we're gonna Cabal Therapy, and we're gonna name. I don't know. I would name Lightning Bolt.
Absolutely.
Oh, we have an
Ooh,
annul and an
a
island.
null.
Okay. Well, the all right, we're going out on our own terms. We're gonna shoot ourselves. Um, yeah. So the other powder keg would not have done it, as it would have gotten
No.
annulled. But Daisuke's gonna win this match 2-0 here over Ryan Espinosa.
Okay.
In a very very tight game one, and then a clinic of a game two.
Yeah, that was pretty dominant game too. And not a single lightning bolt or prophetic bolts cast. He did that all on the back of Mishra's Factory.
Yeah, I think. I mean, the path to victory there is keep as many cards in hand as possible when you need to, and then the ability to intuition for AK right when you needed to stock up your hand was pretty important. So we get to take a look at some of the cards that he might have brought out.
I forget
There's
about that play, intuition into AK. It's a good
it's.
one.
I mean, we keep seeing AK is bad, so most people don't put it in their deck, so we don't see it very often. But that one it looked really good.
Yeah.
So
is that that's what's the Ravages of War? Not Ravages of War. The one that deals X damage to creatures without horsemanship.
Rolling Earthquake? No,
Yeah,
their version of that.
Yeah, it's Rolling Earthquake.
It is Rolling Earthquake. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, he had that coming out of the side. But what was he afraid of with that? What does that do for him?
I don't. That may have been taken out. Maybe he took it out because I saw it was maybe like the Force of Whale and some other kind of
Right,
spells.
that was coming back in. That was coming back in.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hit anything useful or relevant. So, but it's nice to see kind of the red blue deck doing well. It's not something we've seen a lot of. A lot of people try to splash white for either Sword of Plowshares or Lightning Angel, things like that. So it's nice to kind of see just the dedicated sort of counter burn.
People get greedy, man. I tried to put chance and counter in a red blue deck. Why? I think red blue is probably okay.
Oh man, chance and counter.
Yeah.
Were you using the Ifrit that flips coins?
Yeah, it's a good card. Damage on the stack. Phase that bad boy out.
I love it. Do you ever get anybody with chance and counter?
No, because the mana costs are wrong. You gotta the Ifrit costs 3 and the encounter costs 4. You really want to cast them
Opposite order.
Then Ifrit.
Sure.
And
yeah,
that makes it kind of difficult.
That makes sense. All right, so that is match 1. We're going to try to bring you match 2. This week's been kind of weird with scheduling. So we have a potential match 2 on the hopper. I'm going to go check in. We're going to take a short break here. I'm going to check in to see if they have been able to, both players have been able to actually make it and find out. It's possible we may come back and chit-chat with you about the league and about middle school for a little bit while we wait for one of the players to show up. We're not sure. But stay tuned, because if we can bring you another match of middle school, we absolutely will. And if not, we'll come back, chat for a little bit, and before saying goodnight. So stay tuned, and we will be back momentarily. What's up,
We're back.
everybody? We're back.
We back. We got a
Uh,
second match.
we
Where'd
do
we
have a
find
second
these guys?
match. We
They're
do.
behind the dumpster, or
I,
just
it,
kidding?
I mean, well, I don't know. Tweety sometimes. You never know where you're going to find Tweety. No, but we do have a second match for you tonight. We were able to stall the first match long enough to make the second match possible. So here we are. Middle school is great. Magic is wonderful. My name is Robert. I'm joined in the booth with Angelo, and this is the Romancing the Stones Middle School Dance Party Week 4 of 6 of our Dance Party Middle School League. How's it going?
Man, it's going great. I'm enjoying this, and right off the bat, man, check out Galen's playmat. That is slick.
Yeah, Tundra action. Oh yeah.
I didn't think that would look so good on a mat.
It's on the card, right? It all looks washed out, right? Because we all look at the revised Tundras because that's what we all get. And it's washed out because it's revised. And then it's a washed out color palette, which makes sense for Frozen Wasteland. So yeah, you don't think too much of it. But there on the mat, you're absolutely right. It is wonderful. It's splendid.
It's stunning. Almost as stunning as Mr. T. I remember when that happened, when he did that photo shoot with all the Moxes. And that's where Richard Garfield actually got the idea for the Moxes. Did you know that?
That is why we exist, because of that
Some
moment.
magic trivia for you guys, yeah.
I kind of wish I could go back in history to that photo shoot. I want to see some behind the scenes.
Well, to see the real Moxes before they got thrown into the fires of Mordor. I mean,
right?
Would have been amazing.
I think the next Universes Beyond is just going to be Mr. T's Moxen. Right?
The quest. Him and Tugboat have to get the Moxes to the...
Right? Oh my gosh, that'd be funny. Well, we do have Brian Tweedy, our very own, on the left, and we have Galen on the right here.
I guess from California, right?
Yes, he is in California, so we appreciate that he was able to make his family time and also make our stream tonight. So
yeah.
Chat says we want a picture of Dan Fraser shaking hands with Mr. T. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? Because Dan Fraser did immortalize Mr. T's Moxen for all of us to enjoy.
Yeah, but they're not friends. There's that whole copyright dispute, Kyle. Come on. It was in court and everything.
Yeah.
That's why Dan's at all the shows drawing on cards, because he needs the loot from the civil suit.
This needs to be a blog post. We need to know more about this.
Well, it's all part of the origin story of Romancing the Stones, right?
This is true. We need. Are you going to be our historian now?
super unqualified, but I'll take it.
Unqualified.
I don't even live in Texas, man.
Chat, if you want to be the Romancing the Stones historian so that you can document such stories as Mr. T's origin story of Romancing the Stones, please let us know. Shoot us an email.
Or tell the true story of Romancing the
Stones. I mean, we have a website. We could throw something up on there. It could be fun. Wow.
All right. So Brian looks like he's got a hand he wants to keep. Galen also has decided. Oh, Tweety flexing the APAC lands.
Yeah.
The APAC lands? No, that's the Dutch one.
That's the Euro. Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
I love the sunflowers. Absolutely. Basic plain. So knowing Tweety, this could be his blue-white red concoction he's been trying to make work for a while. Galen immediately going to fire off a Mox Diamond, pitching Gemstone Caverns into an undiscovered paradise.
Is he doing the shadow thing? Oh, tax rack.
Yeah, there's definitely a tax involved here somewhere.
The turn 1 scroll rack's an interesting choice. I guess if you don't know if your opponent's on discard or counter spells, you might want to get it down. But
sure.
Otherwise, I don't see why he wouldn't just jam the land tax and get the three lands right off the wrap.
The only thing I can think of is we just don't have it.
Also, a great reason not to play land tax. Not in your hand.
All right. Undiscovered Paradise is going to return upon the untapped step. Brian plays his own gemstone mine and passes. So
I
we'll
do
see.
think I do think in the opening hand, Scroll Rack is a reasonable keep in that deck because it's so good and it's hard to find, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're basically playing the 2 card, value engine, keeping the hand of 7 that has part of that combo sounds wonderful to me. Galen's just going to play the same land we already know about in passing, and Brian is going to end step accumulated knowledge. All right, so
terrible card.
chat, we keep waffling back and forth. Is AK good? Is AK bad? We've seen it 3 weeks in a row now.
Waffling. I don't know what you're talking about. The other commentators were talking smack about AK, or chat's talking smack about AK. AK has a very valuable place in a lot of decks. Sometimes it draws you 1 card and it feels bad, but most of the times it's pretty tasty. I mean, there was a time when Kindle was a good card.
There was a time when Kindle was a good card. My mind, when I first saw Kindle, when it was a good card, my mind was blown. It was like, what do you mean you can do 2 and then 3 and then like more damage? This is nuts.
So I get a shock and then a lightning bolt and then the card gets good. This is awesome.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, that was me, a little red player that could.
Bolt was verboten. All right, so we're not really going anywhere, are we? Galen's just scracking for how many is he going to Scroll Rack for?
Looks like just 1, which seems 2. Okay, we're gonna 2. Okay. Or is that 3? Okay, there's 3 cards. Okay. But
okay.
Importantly, Tweety's gonna miss a land drop and pass.
Yeah, also weird. Guys are both kind of faltering out of the gates here. It started out strong and then here we are looking for gas on turn 3.
Yeah, I have a suspicion Tweety's looking for some more blue sources, and unfortunately the gemstone mine is not the one we want. I mean, it's possible we're trying to not play too many lands and maybe try to play around land tax, but I don't know if that's correct.
That's pretty meta. Yeah, I don't know if he's that worried about it right now, right? We don't know what flavor of land tax this is.
No. So I'm gonna try to do like land drop.
I like that we can see the Scroll Rack and just know that tax is in there. Like that's a given, right?
Are there any decks that play Scroll Rack and don't play land tax?
I can't imagine. I mean, maybe in a Necro deck, maybe.
Okay, sure, maybe.
Doesn't sound good though.
Yeah, no. Chat, is there a reason to play Scroll Rack and not land tax?
I mean, if you're playing Gush and Sea Drake, again, maybe. Okay,
yeah, sure. Gush, Sea Drake, I can see that.
Caves of Koilos over there.
A survival deck, I guess, could play it. You could. Yeah. If you want to, shuffle your deck. Chat saying,
what do you think he's on with the Koilos? Is this a dead guy brew, maybe?
I don't know. That is curious. So we're the commentators today are playing blind. We have not pulled deck lists for today. So we're figuring out live along with you. Is there what is a tax rec deck want that is black? Maybe sideboard cards? Maybe.
I mean, I guess the better question is, why do you need a dedicated white-black land when you can get black mana from Undiscovered Paradise, Gemstone Mine? I guess those are the 2 big ones. But
that tells me that the black mana may be central to actually what the strategy is. So maybe it's chat's saying we have
than just regenerating your spectral links.
Right. Maybe this is just like a 4-color zoo thing. like tied together off the strength of land tax fixing your mana or something. We could have shadow creatures. That's something that Chad is pointing out.
I just saw Tweety put down a meddling mage and pick it back up.
Okay.
But he cast AK and drew 2. So why did we see that by accident? Maybe.
Yeah, he must have just pulled the wrong card out of his hand. I'll chalk it up to a dexterity error.
There you go.
But the Gemstone Mine ticks down to 1, and while we draw 2 cards off the AK, we don't play a land, and this is not how Tweety has drawn up his deck, I'm sure.
That's how we play best out of 3. We're supposed to lose 1 to variance.
Yeah, and I guess, I see. We were at cleanup step. So that's what was happening.
Swords.
He was trying to go to cleanup step, and Galen said, "Hey, hold on, wait. I'm gonna rack." But if Tweety's not going to draw any lands, and Galen's not going to present any pressure, then the game just sits here and gives Tweety plenty of time to draw some land and then cast his full grip. Oh wow, we see a lair.
Floats a mana, drops a lair. I don't really understand the draw of the layers. I don't want to play those.
The only explanation that I have right now is that it picks up a land, which is good with tax rack because you can then shuffle it away, do something if you don't want it. Gives you an extra card.
Sure.
But we are clearly trying to fit a lot of different colors into this deck.
Well, now I'm sensing Esper tax.
Okay.
Control.
I don't think we've seen like an Esper tax build in our leagues.
Didn't Andrew Webb play that for a while?
Maybe Andrew plays a lot of silly stuff. Orm's Chant out of Galen. So that tells me that we suspect Tweety might have a Force of Will.
Yeah.
And we maybe want to resolve something. Chat's saying that Webb won a league with Esper Tax Rex. So yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, there we go.
I watched the stream. You just
Tax Sakatog deck. Okay.
All right. Yeah, so maybe that's what Galen's on here. Hence the need for black and.
Okay. Well, we're going to Force a Will. And if we're Force a Willing, that tells me that we have another Force of Will.
Reckless Abandon.
Necro.
Oh, it's Necro Scroll Rack deck. There it is.
Okay.
Called it.
Necro Scroll Rack. You got it. Okay, we're going to cash in this Gemstone Mine, and we're going to Mana Leak. Okay, so we don't have another Force, but we do have the Mana Leak. And, Galen's going to follow up with... No, that he's tapped out. Cool. Tweety does draw another Manosaurus right on schedule. It is a blue one to bat.
Is that the APAC land?
That is... Yes, that's Fiji. Fuji? Yeah, that's Fiji? No, I don't remember what... It's Mount Fuji is the mountain. And I don't remember what the island is. Chat, what island is that? Flex your brain muscles.
Okay, I got the card right here. It doesn't say where it is. Island Red Pack.
Can't search Island Red Pack into Scryfall. So I'm not pulling it up. But looks like Tweety does go ahead and play a Meddling Mage, which, whatever it named, it was not Sword to Plowshares, as Galen is able to fire off swords of his own to remove that. I guess we probably would just name Necro. That would make sense.
It's feel bad. Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. Okay, there we go.
That was worth it, right?
I think so. I'm here for it. We beat chat. You figured it out before chat did.
I feel like we've got maybe 2 participants in chat.
We have 13 total viewers, I don't know how many are participating in chat, but
It's okay. Everybody watches the replay, right? You get hundreds of watches on the replay.
yes, hundreds.
Hundreds of
Thanks for the free zeros. Well, we appreciate all of you viewers for tuning in and spending your evening with us, watching us boomers play Boomer Magic.
Teach these kids about
Playing
tax rack.
Magic as it was when I was in middle school.
Magic the way it was intended.
Chat saying that you were captain of their trivia team.
I think I was. Bad choice, but...
Well, Tweety gets to untap, and he does play a Riftstone Portal, so he's got some expanded mana choices now, fixing his mana a little bit better.
Reflecting Pool, brother.
Reflecting Pool, thank you. What is... I've gotten every card but that one.
Yeah, you've been nailing it with, like, a shred of the art.
Yeah.
And this iconic bastard comes
the card that everyone plays except me, apparently? Yes.
Riftstone Portal, of course.
Yes. Okay, so...
Not a lot happening.
I knew what it did in my head. I knew it gave him, double blue or double white, but...
Yes.
Galen not presenting much pressure here. We've shown that he's trying to create a lot of card advantage with Necro, with Scroll Rack. I'm assuming there's a tax in here. But what is he trying to win the game with? We haven't seen. But Tweety fires off an Intuition, and his deck is going to start firing on cylinders if we can continue to make land drops and draw cards, which Intuition... we've cast 2 AKs, so we can't just grab more AKs.
Trip AK is off the table.
That is a Judge promo, chat. Judge promo Intuition.
Spendy.
As you are correct, they did not make foil Tempest cards, but they did make Judge promos. Okay, so what? We Intuition for Force of Wills? Okay.
Okay.
All right, so Tweety's showing he wants to play more controlling game, and there is the Shivan Reef, so there's the red mana that we probably suspected.
No Lightning Angel.
No Lightning Angel, which would be really good now. If we have the Force of Will and a blue card in hand, this would be the time to deploy it.
To slam it.
Yeah. I agree.
And Kyle, there are foil Jackal Pups. There are foil what's the other one from that set?
Mog Fanatics.
Fanatics, yeah.
Yes, there are. All of which are Judge promos as well? Or F&M promos.
Foil River Boas, too.
There are foil River Boas, yes. There are no foil Kindles. Right?
Yeah, I want there to be, but I don't think there is.
Survey says negative.
Negatory, Bebo.
Our friend Kindle, who we all, all red players of this era loved Kindle at some point in their life. As it grew the same way that AK grows.
I want a box of Urza Saga off the back of Kindle in a Winter Orb deck.
That is spicy.
So those good old days.
I remember using seeing Flame Burst and then also seeing Party Firecat go with that, right. And my brain was like, "Oh, Kindle was great, but this is better." And then you shoved in a red deck, and
Then you realized you had to play with Party Firecat.
Yes.
For it to be
yes, indeed. Although we have seen Flame Burst and Party Firecat in our leagues before. In a brew that also included Oath of Druids, where you would Oath, put a bunch of these things into your graveyard, and then just cast a Flame Burst for profit.
It wasn't bad.
It was an innovative take on strategy, seeing cards that typically are not combined together. I really enjoyed it. I believe Robin Manus played that.
Was it Oath of Druids, or was it the guy that taps and flips the top of your deck over?
No, was not the
Was it Hermit Druid? Is that the
was
name?
not Hermit Druid.
Okay.
It was he was oathing into Partick Firecats for hasties, and also I think that has haste, maybe it doesn't, but also into like ball lightnings
Got it.
and like blistering Firecats.
That's right. Ooh, that's nasty.
Yep. All right, so Tweety is going to continue his land drop march, and we're going to actually.
Is he casting another intuition?
It is casting another intuition, so.
What's he going for this time?
I think kind of here we can add more permission. Just more cards to kind of control the matchup, because Galen has shown that he's going to play a slow game, and he's going to take this opportunity now while Brian is tapped to resolve an Enlightened Tutor, which could only be grabbing land tax.
It's got to, right?
Now, if this is at Galen's end step, Brian will still get a chance to untap, and he's going to be able to search for an answer to this if he wants to kind of get it off the board or counter it if we need.
Well, he'll have it in his hand, so he just needs to create a window to get it down, basically, and maybe he's got a second one in his hand already.
Oh, sure. Grab a second one so you can play one.
Yeah, just power through. I mean, Tweety's still light on lands.
Yeah,
he's going for the trip Lightning Angel.
Yeah, he says it's time to close the game out, so we're gonna grab our win conditions. Look at those beautiful
pressure.
Japanese foil signed. Trivia fact for all of you following at home: Tweety he is involved in an establishment in town called Tweety's Bar. Allegedly not named after Tweety. Another story. However, in Tweety's Bar, on one of the shelves, is a metal print of Lightning Angel on the shelf of the bar. So if you're ever in town at Tweety's Bar, take a look for that. And it looks like we immediately cast an angel, and it immediately gets swords. So that was really pricey, right? We intuition bin 2 angels and get the other one removed. That could be problematic for the number of win conditions in Tweety's deck.
I'd say, is Tweety running 3 or 4? It's a 4 of card, right?
I have to assume it's a 4 of. And it looks like, is this the opportunity to land the land tax? If we have Force of Will in hand, we know we have Force of Will in hand. We did intuition for it, so we've obviously chosen to not save the Lightning Angel.
Well, here it comes.
But are we going to fight over the land tax? We're going to ask how many cards are in his hand, I think, and then we're going to tax first. Okay, so we're backing up a tiny bit. Okay. Interesting.
Very interesting. Wonder what he's looking for.
I know. I want to know what he's going to use to close out the game. All right, so now we've got new cards in hand. We're going to play our tax, and we're going to exile Manalik and cash in this Force of Will, which we knew about. So this is all going kind of according to Galen's plan. We were able to tag a Lightning Angel for free, kind of in the process. Are we going to follow up with another sort of advantage threat? And the answer is no. Okay. So Tweety gets to untap and take another turn to try to find ways to prevent Galen from gaining more advantage.
Now, do you think Galen forgot about the counterspell, or do you think he's just trying to burn through it?
I think he's just trying to burn through it. And unfortunately,
he's in an okay position, right? I mean, he's at 19. We got half the combo on board. We've got all the colors we need.
Yeah, we're sort of locked with our rack at the moment. We just put 3 cards in the top and we just drew one of them.
Yeah.
So unless we have a way to kind of shuffle the library right now, we're still sort of stuck with the cards that we have. Um,
When Kyle raises a good question, what's the win con? We're suspecting it's Psychotog, right?
we could be Psychotog. That wouldn't be bad. Um, yeah, that's I think this kind of build Psychotog is fine. Maybe Tricks seems like a good idea. Because
Six is
Psychotog you
another
have to find a way to like punch through, right? Which means you
right.
need more permission, and we haven't really seen any permission from I think Galen's side. We've just seen some Sword to Plowshares to maybe remove blockers, but Tricks seems like a fine way to maybe donate it. I think that that's okay. And maybe that's where the blue comes from. Sure.
Tricks is another thing we don't see enough of around here.
This is true. I think Tricks was popular in like the first 2 leagues that we had. When people are just like, oh, we get to play this Tricks deck, and we all had fond memories of losing to Tricks.
Right.
And it got people because we didn't know what the combo decks of the format were, and then we just realized that at the time the way we were building it wasn't very good. But they did
Right.
build it. I lost to a Tricks deck that was playing Necropotence and Donate and Illusions, and I was not prepared for that combo. Now I would be, but we haven't seen it as the leagues have matured a little bit. But I could see that being in here, right? We can
It's not as strong as it could be. It's probably tier 2 at best.
sure. There's a lot of ways to interact with that kind of deck if you want. Any number of Red Blasts are running around.
Okay, Arms Chant again.
All right, so here's a litmus test. Does Brian want to fire off a Factor Fiction right now? That'd be the time to do it.
He might be countering that chant.
Yeah, I mean, we could. We're gonna tap something. Okay.
Okay.
I'm assuming we're gonna cast Ice.
Interesting.
Seeing as we're not tapping red mana, that would make sense.
You think he's tapping the scroll rack or one of the lands? Probably the Mox.
I would think the scroll rack.
I would say he can always just tap for and float the mana in response. So
we
that's
could.
Not really,
Yeah, we could.
so
really
I think good,
I think tapping the scroll rack means that if we're trying to take advantage of it with the card that we're casting after this Orm's Chant, we don't have the option.
It makes your life a little more difficult. You got some hard decisions, right? Like, do I want a scroll rack? Do I just let it go?
Yeah.
And also, Tweety might just be trying to draw a card.
Right.
Just digging here.
Draw into a mana leak, or even a counter spell. Chat says we think Tweety is asking Galen what he should tap.
That's an Angelo move.
All right, so it looks like we're going to cast an Enlightened Tutor in response. Okay, so Tweety can still cast spells. I don't know how many cards Tweety has left in his hand though. We've pitched a couple of cards to Force of Will. We've lost a few cards along the way, so it looks like Tweety may not have cards in hand right now. We need to have them set aside, but
he's tutoring for Necropotence. He's going to put that on top and then draw it with Scroll Rack in response. But then he won't have the mana to cast it.
That's true.
He's playing a land drop.
Well, I mean, like if we know that there's,
because this is probably Galen's upkeep, right?
I don't know if Galen would play Orm's Chant in his own upkeep.
Fair point.
So I have to assume that this is after the draw step.
Yeah. Good.
So, I mean, unless he really wanted the Enlightened Tutor to resolve
before draw,
and so he's casting the Orm's Chant then. But activating, I still think we're pointing the ice at the scroll rack. All right, so we're going to activate the scroll rack, which implies main phase.
And so he's unlocked himself from what was on top before, and he's getting that necro.
Yep.
Did 2, it looks like.
Yeah. So the 2 cards that were in his hand. So he's got a necro and an unknown and an Orm's Chant on the stack. Does ice resolve? Yes, ice is going to resolve. Permanent it was tapping is already tapped. Orm's Chant resolves. And all right, do we have land drop necro? No. Okay, so Tweety gets another turn to untap here to find, maybe another way to answer this necro. We have a land drop. And a little bit of communication between our players. We put a morph. Sure. Okay, so we play a morph.
I think you mean Exalted Angel.
We definitely do mean Exalted Angel. This is true.
Eric and I had this conversation. It's like, played a morph. He's like, you mean Exalted Angel? Yes.
That is inferred information, sir, not derived. Not yet, anyway. We all know it's Exalted Angel, though.
Yeah. Only other one you might see is the Nantuko guy, but Tweety's in the wrong colors for that.
This is very true. So the other morph creature you do see is also from the Elves deck. You might see some Birchlow Rangers from time to time, and you will also see maybe a Tribal Force Mage.
Right. Tribal Force Mage.
Tweety is definitely not on Elves, so we're not going to see any of those today.
Well, you can't say he's not on Elves because I haven't seen an elf yet. And I've watched enough Ancient Aliens to know that if you don't have proof that it didn't happen, that you can assert that it might have happened.
All right. Well, I mean, this morph creature could be anything. It could be anything.
But it's Exalted Angel. I mean,
Galen is going to be able to untap and resolve the necro. So we've assembled the necro scroll rack, which I think is powerful.
I think if he had a way to get rid of the angel, he would have done that.
Sure. Absolutely.
Instead of the necro, right?
Yeah, so Tweety's going to go ahead and flip the angel and attack. Start pressuring Galen's life total and start trying to close out this game before Galen can really do anything, as he's taken many, many turns to do anything.
Yeah. Galen's still on 3 lands. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's not signaling a lot of hope.
Well, so here's the trouble right now is that Galen, I don't know if he has time to use this necro. We can afford to draw 3 total cards with it. And we have to also fade Tweety having any sort of, reach with either fire or bolt lightning or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's in the deck. That's why you play red.
Of course. So we're going to cast a Duress to see if we can get rid of something relevant, but we're going to tap our mana here.
Counter the Duress. That's fine. That still opens the door.
And there's the bolt. Okay, so now Galen can't draw any cards as he drops down to 5.
Okay.
Duress is going to resolve. We're going to see a white card and a land. So we see a Sword of Plowshares and what I think might be an island. We'll find out after he plays it. Dwarven Blast Miner. Okay, so chat's saying Dwarven Blast Miner could have been the morph card, and that is in Tweety's colors, and would be okay in the board state, right?
I don't know if that's a main deck card, but
no,
sure.
Tweety is going to go ahead and move to the combat stab, attack for 4. Galen going to meddle with some cards.
I'm Tweety, I'm feeling really good right now.
Yeah, I mean we're tapping Sword of Plowshares mana, and it looks like we have. Oh nope, we took the damage, and now we just haven't updated the life counters.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We're gonna play land tax. but we are at 1, despite what the life total says. And unless we have exactly sorted plowshares right now, we are. This is the end of game 1. We'll see.
In danger.
Well, yeah, I take it back. We could have Orm's Chant. We could have Orm's Chant kicked.
Right.
Would
Right.
stop. Would buy another turn.
My turn. But I mean, for a minute there, it was dicey for Tweety, and he's pulled himself back from the edge of the grave. I don't know if he was even
Yes,
at the edge of the grave, but he had a rough start.
the edge of falling behind in this card advantage plays. We still haven't seen enough of Galen's deck to know what the threats really are. I mean, obviously, land tax, scroll rack, very powerful. Necropotent's very good card. None of those cards actually win the game. So I'm curious what is left in Galen's deck. Now, a card like Ivory Tower, that might be enough to just prevent Tweety from ever winning. And that could be something that we see in this deck, as it's good with Necro and good with land tax.
Yes.
All right, so is Galen going to be able to find the Orm's Chant?
So actually, the chat pointed out that wasn't actually an attack. That was a reminder poke.
Okay. Okay.
So he's actually at 4. I guess did he draw a card?
Yeah, he must have. And
why would you just draw 1? Like, if you're going to go to, I don't know,
trying to dodge bolt, I guess, just in case.
Yeah.
But we're gonna kick this Orm's Chant on the upkeep.
He's going to take 1 to do that, so we're not dodging bolt.
That tells me, though, that that means we're going to land tax next turn and really get some card advantage going. So he must think that he's got a way to continue going from there, and that might be fine, right? We've already shown that Tweety's had a bolt before. All right, so the mystery card in hand, I think, was the Gemstone Mine.
Another Judge foil.
Yes. Absolutely beautiful deck on Tweety's side. All right, so we're going to rack some stuff at the end of turn, it appears, which we will then shuffle away with our tax trigger.
Love it. Still not drawing any cards, though. At least not with Necro.
Nope. It's
Gotta pay 1 to draw them cards. Gotta pay the troll toll.
So what do you think that there's a this tells me like there's got to be like an Ivory Tower in this deck, because I haven't seen enough proactive cards that really put him in the game. So a card like Ivory Tower would allow him to kind of do these dirtily card advantage things longer.
Yeah, and I mean you can play it as a 4 of. I remember when that was restricted.
Yep.
Dumb card to restrict, but I guess when Necro was running around, it was
is good. Stop some aggro strategies. So Galen's going to go ahead and search up 3 basic lands with the land tax. A card that you can no longer play in pre-modern, as it was banned within the last year. You can come play it in middle school. Please, pre-modern players, come play middle school. Come play your land tax. You can play it with Necropotent. You never could do that in pre-modern.
Don't even think about it.
Nope. If you saw one of the basic lands that Galen searched up have a stamp on there and wonder what stamp is that is the Romancing the Stones stamp. And you may ask yourself, how do I get one of these stamped basic land cards? Well, you'd get one of those by showing up to one of these events. Everyone who participates in our webcam leagues gets mailed a participation card that is stamped. We've had all sorts of stuff from playable, instants of sorceries, cards, spells, to basic lands, all sorts of fun stuff. So if you like stamp cards and want to just collect playable stamp stuff for your decks, play in our leagues. Whether you play in our webcam leagues or if you're local to Austin or want to travel for our vintage events, all sorts of fun stuff to be had.
I have quite a few Romancing the Stone stamped cards myself.
I love them. I've like every time I get one, I kind of forget where I put it, and then I went back recently to like collect them all, and I realized, oh wow, I actually have like some playables.
Yeah, they're just in a bunch of decks, and I just like finding them. Oh, I forgot I had this. Basics, naturalize. I have naturalize. I have disenchant.
Yep.
Good staples.
Galen has discovered
Zorb
the ivory tower, so
and a Zern orb.
and Zorn. Okay, so
Wait,
it's
where's the
very
ivory tower?
likely
Did you
the
draw
door
it?
may actually get shut on Tweety here.
Where did you see ivory tower, Robert?
We e-tutored it for end of turn and
Oh,
then
okay.
racked it to
There
our
it is.
hand.
So he didn't find it. He searched it up.
Well, yeah, this is true. He searched for it. So all right, we've got 3 lands in play. A way to get as many lands as we need, so we can certainly gain life to stay out of the death range enough to untap with this ivory tower and start gaining some life. This could be real tough for Tweety here if he's not able to stop this in the next couple turns.
Gonna have to kind of choke up his mana situation for a minute. I mean, for going to 4 isn't. Oh, he's not tapping the Undiscovered Paradise, so he's gonna go to 5 mana for a turn, go back a land drop. But that's not. He's just
Yeah, that's not. Tweety's gonna take a draw step and realize, hey, I'm not getting past. I'm not gonna kill you this turn, which means I'm not gonna get another opportunity. You're gonna gain too much life. And Galen's gonna go ahead and kind of sneak a win out of that game 1.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that scooping was an absolute thing there. I mean, Tweety had at least 2 or 3 turns to try to turn it around, maybe with a couple lightning bolts and an angel.
I don't think Tweety had but maybe 1 card in hand. I think it was light on cards. Yeah. We can attack for 4. Galen can sacrifice a land or 2 to go to 2 and 4.
We've been playing for a minute, so Tweety was out of AKs. He was out of forces. He was. What else did he run out of?
We might have had 1 force left in the deck, maybe 1 AK.
Yeah, 1 angel left. I mean, there wasn't a lot of.
Right, we'd already gotten rid of our lightning angels.
Cards.
So, and it's possible we don't play that many exalted angels in the deck. I mean, we may only play 1 along with a set of lightning angels.
I think I meant lightning angels because remember he intuition for 3 of them and pitched 2,
so yeah, I mean he may not have had but 1 more win condition actually in the deck to increase his clock. So Tweety just deciding that he'd rather go to sideboard games.
Not to mention that Tweety's just a perfect gentleman and
this is true.
Understands the rules and trappings of high society. So,
I mean, we wouldn't have this league if it wasn't for Tweety the Gentleman, right?
That's right.
Good guy, Tweety the Gentleman.
So good for him.
Okay, so then chat saying Tweety needs to have Null Rods and Aura of Silence in his sideboard. I would love to see Null Rods. I don't think there's enough of them in middle school.
It does nothing.
It does nothing. It does nothing. If you're Galen, what kind of cards do we want out of this?
Man, I feel like maybe a little more creature removal because we didn't see just the swords or 2.
Sure. I think we saw maybe 2.
He's in black, so he's probably
only
got
1 sword.
Edict effects, maybe.
So we could maybe. Do we even want to bring in duresses against? I guess we could bring in duresses to make sure that our critical spells resolve because we don't really care about the burn.
Okay, duress is okay because it eats up counter spells, and even if you're not hitting a counter spell, you have the potential to get a bolt or.
And it gives you the information to just keep going.
Yeah, see the hand and say, okay, I can cast Necro.
Yeah.
So, I think Tweety's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things about Galen's deck that line up very well. I mean, Brian's deck is about, controlling, gaining advantage, and then, finding that moment to turn the corner and just get that, find the win
Punch it
condition,
through.
punch through. And a card like Ivory Tower makes it significantly more difficult, especially if Galen plays it early. Um, because if he just gains 3 life every turn for the rest of the game, Brian, with only one of his win conditions can attack for more than 3. And if Galen, gets to draw, gain a bunch of life, it's going to make it very difficult for Brian to catch up, start attacking, and not let Galen draw out of it again.
Well, he also had Zern Orb down.
Yeah.
3 Mox Diamonds. The most he was going to gain off Orb was 6. But still, that's enough to buy a turn or two to give him that wiggle room on the Ivory Tower. So it's not a lock, but it was a real deep hole for Tweety to climb out of.
Yeah. And, that's... Once Tweety knew that he wasn't going to be able to do the last 4 points of damage, he knew that that's what it was going to be the whole rest of the game. So I think now that Tweety knows what's kind of going on and knows how he can lose this game, he'll prioritize things a little bit differently.
Maybe next league he'll put some Prophetic Bolts in his deck.
You want him to put Prophetic Bolt in his deck?
Deals 4 damage.
It does deal 4 damage. It does?
I was actually yesterday I was fantasizing about Psionic Blast being legal in the format and what that might do.
Yeah.
It's, not decidedly not middle school, but I don't think it would break the format. It just doesn't belong.
No, I think it would give some of the aggressive strategies a bit more oomph to be a bit more aggressive.
It would give some of those blue aggro decks and like both these decks, Tweety's deck and Young Pyromancer, Daisuke's deck, some gas.
Absolutely. It's always interesting to think about, when we're building our decks in middle school, I constantly find myself saying, how do I solve this problem without the cards I already know that easily solve the problem? It's like, my kingdom for a pithing needle in this format, right?
Right.
Like how different would it be if just pithing needle could be in this format? And things like that. And I remind myself, this is why I choose to play this format. This is why this is fun.
Because you don't have to fear pithing needle. You can
exactly
cast your broken magic cards with
you get to play your games.
Only the fear of Force of Will.
Right. We have similar things, right? We do have Curse Totems, if you want to, and Null Rods, if you want to kind of attack some of those permanents that way. But, Survival gets to keep doing survival things, and that's fine. That's why we play this format. Meddling Mage is Pithing Needle, sure, yeah. I can get on that. If you want to get like real crazy, we could play like Null Chamber, right? Go real deep.
Doesn't that cost 4?
Yeah, it is definitely not Pithing Needle. Let's bring this one on camera here. So, and it's symmetrical too, right? So 4 mana enchant world. You and target opponent each name any card except a basic land. Those cards cannot be played. So, it's like, Pithing Needle at home, right?
That's exactly what it is.
So our players are going to go ahead and start off here. Tweety is going to start off with the Adakar Waste and is able to annul this land tax. And that's very huge for Tweety. But it appears that Galen has a second one.
Yeah, he's just... And with the Mox Diamond too, so...
Right.
Not even waiting a turn, just... Screw you, here's
still got all these.
Now, Force of Will would be real nice right there, but...
It would. I don't see the Slam Dunk Force of Will, which tells me that Brian does not have that. But we could easily just untap and play, Disenchant or Seal Removal.
Also true, because he definitely threw in all his artifact and enchantment removal. And this deck, I'm sure, with what colors Tweety's in, has at least 3 or 4 sideboard slots dedicated to that.
Yeah, very likely.
I when I first started playing middle school, I just automatically put 2 disenchants or naturalizes in any decks I could.
I mean,
Just the
it's
sheer number.
especially if you've been playing Magic, since like the old school era, right? Disenchant is an incredibly powerful effect.
There's a lot. There's a null rod, by the way.
Okay, so chat calling Null Rod being good,
Chat
absolutely.
new.
We get to tag a Mox Diamond with that, so that feels really good. Really happy to see Null Rod too. I, it's I think it's underplayed in middle school, and usually when I see it, there's like 1 or 2 copies on the board, so you just don't see it because you have to draw
Yeah.
it too. But Twitty has it, whether he drew it, top decked it, or had it in his opener. We get to see its effect here, and
Well, it doesn't hit enough cards. Like it hits cards, but it doesn't hit like that critical mass to like just jam it, you know?
if it also hit Dreadnought
Yeah,
somehow, it would
somehow.
it would
Turn
be better.
artifact creatures into just rocks. Sure.
Yes. Um, but it's when it's
I mean,
good, it's real good.
what all are we actually scared of? Like Mox Diamonds are cool, but that's not
Um,
what, Scroll
the
Rack,
scroll rack is good. Even maybe curse scrolls and
Powder Keg,
powder kegs. Um,
or Scrolls, yeah.
you could even like neuter a Masticore with it. Um, give
Yeah.
yourself a chance to kill it.
And you're really afraid of Mastercore, aren't you? That's like the
I
second time you brought
mean,
it up
I'm.
tonight.
Hey, if you've seen some of my last streams, I can't even beat a wild mongrel. So you put a Masticore in front of me, and I'm just
Well, that thing has what, 3 mouths, so it's
it does
terrifying.
have it does have 3 mouths. No Rod is good too if you're also playing a graveyard strategy that folds to Phyrexian Furnace or Tormod's Crypt. No Rod is very
That's
good.
actually that's some dragon combo tech right there
Yeah.
to think
See.
about.
Yep.
Does that interrupt the dragon combo? I don't think it does. So that would go right along with the bans as another way to kind of plow that through.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Ty, if you're out there taking notes.
I think he actually has that for specifically that reason. Oh, okay. So here's the win condition. Galen has found a zombie infestation. So if we can just tutor up a bunch of lands into our hand, that will be helpful. So Tweety,
Somebody called that in chat early on when we
yeah,
were talking about the Caves of Koilos.
they that makes perfect sense here. So Tweety is able to play his own meddling mage to stop part of what Galen assembled last game, but never saw the zombie infestation. So
Right.
I don't know if Tweety has a good answer to that.
That right there is the reason Tweety should have played, is just to see what the win con was, right?
Sure.
Because then he would have had that information going into this and been able to say meddling mage on CI.
Absolutely. And that would have been, I mean, I don't know how much of Tweety's sideboarding may have changed. Maybe what he names off of meddling mage changes, but
Yeah, sideboarding not so much, but the soul read is definitely a factor in middle
yeah.
school.
Now, if Tweety can answer this land tax, then theoretically it also takes care of the threat zombie infestation really plays.
True. Until he
look-
draws Necro or
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna make a zombie. We have 1 card in hand. We have 2 zombies, or we're just representing 2 power. We'll find out. But notably here, Tweety has 3 lands. Galen's got 2. So the land tax is going to continue taxing. Although, depending on the zombies, like, 1 lightning angel is good against these zombies. A exalted angel is good against the zombies.
Yep. Both those creatures are highly defensive while being aggressive.
Yeah. So chat, asking, is Meddling Mage, what is it on? Suggesting Plow. Plow seems like the reasonable thing to put it on.
Yeah, that's a safe bet when you're swinging blind.
Yeah. Especially when the rest of your win conditions are creatures that are weak to Plow.
Don't forget that Mox Diamond is turned off, so he's really on 2 mana over there.
He is. But I don't know if he even wants to, like... I don't think he needs to cast any spells other than maybe, maybe finding something to answer this
no rod.
He's
in a good position right now, but, if when it all comes crashing down...
sure.
It's definitely going to be behind.
So we are going to put some lands into our hand, I think. And we're going to take a draw. We're going to accidentally drop a card. We're going to battle. And it is 2 zombies. Okay, so that is representing 2 zombies. Brian does drop down to 13. And this has been a very interesting showing of decks. He's going to drop down to 12 to cast a Lightning Angel. Okay, so here's definitely something that we need here. It'll block zombies very easily and start adding pressure to Galen's life total. And Galen doesn't...
2 turns.
It will. Especially, if Galen can't make enough... he doesn't have infinite basic lands. We could probably make a zombie every turn, but we're going to block a zombie every turn, and we could trade with the Meddling Mage if we really had to. We could fire some of them too, but eventually we will run out of basic lands to pitch to the zombie infestation. And if we can survive that long, Tweety will be in a much better spot.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So Galen chooses not to even attack.
Huh. So
which is...
Was he have 3 zombies there?
He has 3 zombies. I would have attacked. I don't know. I would have attacked, dealt 4 more damage. 8. Oh no. We're going to play the Reflecting Pool. We're going to cast a second Lightning Angel, battle for 6, and I think that's lights out for Galen in this match. We don't have enough. We need to draw swords into swords here. Well, we need to find a way to get the Meddling Mage off, and then we can swords into swords. That 4th angel has tattoo sleeves. Yeah, so we saw Tweety Intuition for 3 angels last game, and the 4th angel showing it's got all sorts of fancy artwork on there. And Galen says, "You know what? I can't race this. Let's go to game 3."
All right, well, this has been exciting because game 1 looked like Galen was on the ropes, then he pulled it out.
Yep.
And then game 2, it looked like Brian was on the ropes, and he turned that around pretty quick. So it's anybody's match.
Now, I'd like to point out the match where we saw AK played, Brian lost. The match where we didn't see AK played, he won. Coincidence? I don't know.
I don't see why you need to point that out. Unless you got an agenda here, man.
I mean, I'm just asking the questions for chat, and then chat can derive their own opinions.
All right, what about Muscle Burst?
Muscle Burst. Okay, so what's the other card that counts as Muscle Burst?
Muscle Sliver? No,
that'd be too good.
Yeah, look it up.
All right, Muscle Burst right here. Target creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is 3 plus the number of Muscle Burst cards in all graveyards. Does Muscle Burst have another card that counts for it?
It does. You called it right away because the Odyssey ones have a partner card.
Diligent Farmhand from the chat here.
There it is, Diligent Farmhand. Look at the chat coming through. And then what's the white one? The white one's terrible.
Yeah, the white one is bad enough that I don't even remember its name. Diligent Farmhand. What does this actually do? So it's a 1-mana 1/1, and we can sacrifice it to search a library for basic land cards. So it puts itself into the graveyard, and it will. It'll actually accelerate you. So it'll put it into play tap. That's actually not the worst thing. I'm not sure I'm playing this in a muscle burst deck. I think I'd just rather play a dude that could block, put damage on the stack, since that is the thing in middle school, and then rampant growth myself and untap, with 4 land the next turn. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
It is the OG Sakura Tribe Elder, as Chad is pointing out. Okay. I like this. I'm here for this. All right, so we're going to move into sideboarding. Tweety knows a little bit more about what Galen can do with his card advantage. I still think he's more scared of just the advantage tools themselves, not really the zombie infestation.
Right.
I don't know what changes. I mean, I think the scariest card out of Galen's deck is really just the Ivory Tower. Paired with attacks.
I mean, so Brian, like we said, Brian's got some enchantment and artifact hate. He's up on that. I guess the real question is, what's he taking out for it? Probably some direct damage, right?
Fire and Ices don't seem great.
Yeah, Fire
You can take those out. Sword of Plowshares probably don't need to be in the deck. Chat saying hour-long game 1, 10-minute game 2. Yeah, they learn what their roles are supposed to be. We understood how we lose to Galen's deck. I like what's happening on Galen's side. It's it's a lot of cards that independently we've seen in other strong strategies. Necropotence is a card that is, I think everyone is trying to find, the best home for it in middle school, and it's a challenge. There are a lot of potential places. There are a lot of good places to put it, but it's interesting when you kind of see that. Land tax is obviously powerful, right? Too powerful for pre-modern, very powerful here, right? And too so, but there's how many different land tax flavor decks are there? There's a whole bunch of them. It slots into a lot of different things. So just seeing those cards by themselves don't really tell you what's happening.
That's one of the things, though, about this format is there's a lot of different ways to play land tax, but there's decidedly a few ways that, if you're not serious. If you're not playing Scroll Rack and land tax, you're not serious. That's not a serious deck.
Sure.
So there's things you can expect to see, Entomb and Nether Spirit. Just go hand in hand.
Sure. Yes. I've seen Entomb for Nether Spirit way more than I've seen Entomb for Reanimation Target. Absolutely.
Right. So there's some funny idiosyncrasies that pop up in the format, but I think you're right. Galen's his deck has a lot of very powerful cards, and no one of them is central to the strategy. So he's got what's the word I'm looking for? Resiliency, I guess. If you kill my Necro, cool. I got land tax and Scroll Rack. You want to blow up my Scroll Rack? Cool. I got
Ivory Tower Necro.
Ivory Tower Necro. Yeah. Zoran Orb.
The Zoran Orb I like as well. That was kind of cool to see. And that's main deck too, which is nifty.
Another old restricted card that is now not nearly as scary.
We have Black Vices, you can play 4 of those in this format, and that got banned and then unbanned in Legacy.
Yep. I think in most of the cases, the cards we're talking about, at least, they weren't restricted because they were powerful. They were restricted because they made tournaments run long.
I can see Ivory Tower doing exactly that.
I mean, I know Zoran Orb was the issue, is because everybody jammed one because buys you a turn or two.
Sure. Well, that's what happened to Sensei's Divining Top in Legacy, right?
Well, Sensei's Divining Top, Jesus.
I mean, it's
You
also a
want to
good
talk
card,
about
but
dirtling,
right.
playing with
So speaking of dirtling, Galen is going to open up on land Ivory Tower. So
this is
down to
a
5
default.
cards, but already asking a tough question for Tweety.
Yeah, Tweety better have the answers. Back in '96, Armageddon was everywhere, Kyle. It was the second best deck to Necro, Armageddon.
Tweety will respond with Shivan Reef pass.
And resetting his life to 20 wisely.
Yep. Galen will gain a life, chooses either doesn't have a land or chooses not to play a land, and just decides I'm just going to gain life until I need to.
I'm
And
trying to think if he just chills on Ivory Tower and starts gaining 3 a turn average. That's gonna put Tweety in quite a backlog of damage. I mean, he's gonna get up to 30 probably before Tweety's overcoming 3 a turn.
absolutely. And Galen also just doesn't want to play land, so he can make sure he gets to activate tax
Right.
on his own, terms. And so by
I do
not playing
think
land, he has pressure in the form of Ivory Tower, and Tweety can't let Galen gain a bunch of life without
Right.
trying to find pressure, but he can't continue his game state without opening himself up to tax, which is just
I do
good.
think I would have liked to have seen Galen play land tax there though. That would have been a little more of a dominant play.
Sure. And now Tweety says, hey, you played a second land, I can play a second land.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yep. So Galen is going to gain more life, already erasing the effects of this lightning bolt.
I think that's an interesting choice. I was just thinking if Tweety had uh, some direct damage to power through, maybe you want to save that for the final blow instead of just kind of burning it off on top to counteract the Ivory Tower. But I guess if also you're looking at mana efficiency, trying to get the most out of your lands.
Sure. So
So
I assume
I
we're going to
guess
play ins here. Yep.
what that kind of tells me is that Tweety has an aggressive hand.
Well, I hope
Or might have an aggressive hand.
that would be good for Tweety because that's the kind of hand he needs. I think he's sort of the control in this matchup, but not really. I think he's the aggro. We're gonna pitch off or shoot off an AK at the end of turn. Drop down to 17 to do it. Play a third land and pass. So that might represent.
Not
Mana
afraid
Leak.
of land text at all.
We could have a null. We could have mana leak. We could have force. Chat saying we haven't respected land tax at all. I don't know. I can't tell if that's the case or if he just hasn't been in a position to be able to do so.
I mean, it's probably a little bit of both, knowing Tweety.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tweety's deck is a deck that can play around land tax. I think if it resolves, you just have to play through it.
Right.
Chat saying I have nothing but disrespect for land tax.
Go play pre-modern. They fucking hate it over there too. Oh, sorry. How many cuss words are we allowed per stream? 2?
I have no idea. When I
think
upload the videos to YouTube, I say this is not made for children. So that's as far as I get. It's interesting because I don't know. I don't think if last league we had any land tax decks in the top 8. I don't think we did. I don't know the last time we did. It's probably a lot sooner than I think it is.
Was a spicy top 8 if I remember correctly.
Last league it was a spicy top 8. We had Raja's like special burn special.
The Yang time burn.
Yep. We had Stasis in the top 8. There was the Suzy Q, Zombie Infestation, Survival deck. You had me on, 8 stone rains. Hmm.
Yeah, that was a different top 8.
That was a very different top 8. Tweety gonna go ahead and play land number 4.
No Lightning Angel.
No Lightning Angel. Galen up to 28.
That tells me maybe Tweety has some counter spells he wants to try to hit that rack with, or that tax with, if it comes down.
Yeah, but
Or at least he's trying to front it. I mean, what does he have? How many cards does he have in his hand?
I think Galen's got a full grip, and I think Tweety's probably on like 5. Nah, we've cast 2 AKs, so we're probably at least 6. The
Kyle,
problem
I
though is
wasn't.
like counter spells are okay here, but they just I don't think that they're good enough against the pressure that Ivory Tower presents. And Galen's going to say, hey, you know what? If you're going to keep a grip full of counter magic, I'm going to put the shields up. And
Is that defense grid?
it is
What is
defense
that?
grid. So the shields are up. It looks like that is resolving. Tweety not making any motions otherwise. Well, I stand corrected. We're twiddling some lands here.
He's thinking about it.
We could be annulling this. A null would be fine. Yeah, it looks like an annul. Okay, so we are casting a null, which will resolve. And then Tweety's camera comes back, and Galen is going to then
Land
attempt
tax.
zombie infestation. Okay, so do we have mana leak? Mana leak here would be fine. Give Tweety's camera a chance to catch up. It's trying to catch up. There we go. All right, so Tweety's internet connection might have been on AT&T. Who knows?
Well, Kyle's suggesting that every time Tweety's camera goes out, he has more cards in his hand.
I don't know if Tweety knows how to pull that off.
I'd say if that's true, it's not intentional.
Yeah. All right, so zombie infestation resolves here, which is fine because I think ultimately Tweety doesn't mind if Galen discards a few cards, stops gaining life for a little bit. If we have a way to answer some of these tutus,
Right. Tweety just needs a Lightning Angel or an Exalted Angel, and
yeah.
tutus are not an issue anymore.
But Tweety's not slamming anything down, which makes me.
I'm worried
Well,
for
as soon as I say that, he goes and taps 4 lands and slams an angel. So,
there's the hero he needed.
all right. So, step 1: present a clock that can at least block some of these tutus. We do have a 5th land, so we are representing maybe something that can stop a Sword to Plowshares. Galen on 1 white source, so we do have the sword's mana. We have swords. Now, if Tweety's got the Force of Will, he may have saved Force of Will specifically to protect Angel, which would make sense. I'd be on board.
Angel or tax, or protect Angel or kill tax, whatever comes up first, right?
Ooh. Yeah, with Galen on 1 white source, I'm not sure. Do you think, if we have swords in hand, do you think tax is force bait? Or do you think the sword...
I think tax is far more important to counter than swords, because you can draw one of your many other creatures.
Well, that's true. And
you can't stop tax very easily unless he's up to 2 or 3 disenchants and has some ways to deal with them that aren't counter magic.
Well, also, like, in the grand scheme of things, if we can just resolve the tax and fill our hand full of cards, the Ivory Tower will check the Lightning Angel, and that's sort of the same thing as swordsing it anyway.
Well, here's Orm's Chant, but he has no extra white mana, so he's definitely not casting swords.
He can have something in his hand. He may be trying to, like, bait something. I don't know. Or maybe we're just trying to resolve a rack.
Yeah,
Scroll rack here.
that's what this looks
All
like.
right, cash this in for 3. Oh, this is a necro. Okay.
Oh, there
So we cash in
Oh,
our
what did he
depletion
put there?
land.
Oh, that was a depletion land. Okay.
That was the black depletion land. Yes.
Love to see it.
Yeah, they don't. They fill a nice role in the format. I don't think they see enough play, but
No, and in his deck, it fits great. You know, if you're trying
it
to get
fits
down to
wonderfully.
land
Yes.
tax and gets you the extra black you need for necro. I flirted with those in a red black necro deck I was playing,
Sure.
to try to get that him mana and the necro mana faster.
Absolutely. That was a problem that I was trying to solve when I built the rock and added necro to it. Was how do we get to 3 black mana? And my solution at the time was to sacrifice Veteran Explorer to Cabal Therapy and get 2 basic swamps. Which coincidentally lets you, on the same turn, cast Hymn to Torok. So you can, turn 1 Cabal Therapy, turn 2 Veteran Explorer, recast Cabal Therapy, and cast Hymn to Torok, and then untap, play a 5th land, and, play a ham sandwich.
Yeah, that's a play.
That was the meme of that deck. I don't know if that build is any good anymore, but
Yeah, Veteran Explorer seems like a trap.
At the
It's
time,
good for both players.
it was just that, the joke was you could do that and then skip ahead to turn 4 or turn 5, and then
Right.
my opponent gets to cast their spells because they've got mana, but their spells are just worse than my spells because my spells cost more mana. So that was what made it good then. I don't know if it's good now that we've all learned more about the format. Kyle, chat saying Veteran Explorer is good with Coalition Victory. Sure, it does fix your lands. Coalition Victory. I want to see that deck. You play that deck next time.
Kyle's trying to build it. I tried to build it. It's not feasible.
Can we start with Coalition Victory, cut it because it's bad, and end up with Sliver Queen?
That's kind of the direction it goes. Yeah.
How long did it take me to come to there? Like a minute?
Yeah. Because you're playing, you need a 5-color creature. Or
Yeah.
You don't need one, but it's ideal.
Right.
And Shift is a 5-color creature.
Okay, sure.
Also terrible.
Yeah.
All right, so Necro's down. He drew a bunch of cards. It's just not a lot happening.
I mean,
draw a lot of cards.
Well, we had so much life. Now, here's the dangerous thing that Galen has done though, is he's completely removed the significant life advantage that he had.
Yeah.
That was almost insurmountable for Tweety. And now he's put himself down to 10 into a range that now Tweety can actually interact with, because now he's at the virtual 7. We've got a bolt in hand, he's at a virtual 4, and now things are getting a little dicey. Now he's going to get to untap, but
Tweety needs to live the dream, but he's still stuck his neck out with that.
Let's look at all these cards that we're exiling. Right? We had Pyroclasm in there in the decks. That was interesting. Pyroclasm's the deck. We have Duress.
Why would you keep that in there? I guess for Meddling Mage?
Sure. I think for Meddling Mage, I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, Galen's hand is going to be stacked, but I think if Brian can untap and just hit this Ivory Tower, that could be the game, Galen may not be able to draw any more cards after that.
Well, Brian needs to come up with an answer to the Ivory Tower for sure, which we're just not seeing. So may or may not be in there. He might have missed his chance. He might have gone full annul. Annul is great, but doesn't help with stuff on board.
So, Sliver Queen, back to this 5-color monstrosity we're talking about.
Well, hold on for a second. Chat's talking about Could Galen have
Ooh, yes.
discarded those cards to ZI instead of exiling them? Or did
That's
he?
exactly what happened. Yes, they still get
Okay, so
exiled,
that's
but
why he
they
has
are
7. Yeah, got it.
okay. Um, we have 10. We have 7. Seven's not. Well, the second lightning angel is real good. Um, man, if Tweety had just had like another red source and a bolt, like,
Hmm.
wow. Okay, so Galen's gonna go up to 7. Two lightning
Second
angels will
lightning.
erase this fairly well. If we can survive this turn and have a bolt, that might be it. We're gonna duress. So if we have a bolt, it's going away.
I guess he can't really flood his strand for anything, can he? This isn't modern.
Right. I mean, we could get a basic island and like I don't know, dispel it. Dispel's not legal. I don't know, something. Um, but we are going to force
Okay.
it. Okay, so
Okay.
that's fine if we still have the bolt in hand.
Promising.
All right, so we're going to take 10 damage though. But if we have bolt in hand, that's all that we need. And Galen may have accidentally given. Ooh, that's the problem.
Ooh.
Okay. Do we have another force?
Oh my god. Dubbed force.
Do we have another? Do we? Tweety needs Rolling Thunder. Yeah, Tweety does need Rolling Thunder. All right. Here comes. I mean, this is the problem though. Galen drew a million cards and his hand was stacked. So.
One chat makes a good point. If he had, they say if he had a bolt, he could have left red up.
This is true. He could have left red up, and he didn't. So. I don't know if that is a misstep.
I guess he could have left Siobhan Reef up and cracked the fetch.
Yeah.
So why would he keep the fetch up? Maybe he's holding up swords.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to think swords is still in the deck.
Yeah, I can't imagine he would keep it. Although Galen's deck does look like the kind of deck that would probably have a miser copy of Nether Spirit.
Sure. Okay. Galen could have made 3 more zombies according to chat, and he might be prepping for that. Sure. So now we can block 1 zombie. We're going to take 12. Drop down to 6. We're going to get to attack Galen down to 4. But I think we're going to have double bolt.
Or Prophetic Bolt.
Or prophetic bolt. Do we think there's a prophetic bolt in this deck? I don't think Tweety's put one in there.
Prophetic Bolt.
All right, Galen gonna drop down to 6. Cast another sword to plowshares. Oh man, I think that might be.
That's
it.
That's a kick in the teeth.
Because now we're representing 14 damage from these zombies, which won't kill Brian, but I don't think Brian can get on top and win. Now, unless he's got something like Pyroclasm, he could have Pyroclasm in his deck.
Pyroclasm, yeah. I could see a Pyroclasm coming out of there.
Yeah. Oh, we have another force. Okay.
So many forces.
Wow.
Is that all 4 or is that 3?
That is 3. Okay. I don't know if Tweety has enough cards in his hand to have double bolt. All right. Swings. Drops to 5. All right.
Okay.
We just need 1 bolt now. We only need 1 bolt. Galen's at 6.
Can he do it?
Will he get got? by the Ivory Tower Necropotent Zombie Infestation monstrosity that is in front of him.
I don't know, if I was Galen, I might have
Okay, we're
held up
fetching.
that swords and waited till it was slightly more relevant, but I guess it did help him punch, or would have helped him punch through 2
Right.
more
I think that
damage.
was. I mean, you let your opponent gain 3 to deal 2 more, but you really close the door and make sure you remove Brian's ability to just get you. So Galen's given Tweety a window here that he didn't have to give. We could have been a bit more conservative with the cards that we drew, made a few less zombies,
Yep.
and then
I
tried to
mean,
punch through that way.
can you blame the guy though? I mean, he had Necro, he had ZI. Like, you kind of got to do it.
Yeah, it looks like the Tweety is gonna just throw his hands and say, "I don't have the bolt. You gave me the chance. I don't have it." And we see Galen's hand is all tax Orum's chant. So
Hmm.
lots of interactive cards. Which makes sense though, right? Galen drew a bunch of cards, could stack his hand. So of course the cards left in his hand would be potent.
Yeah.
Tweety not able to find the last bolt in order to get here. I don't know how many bolts are still left in his deck. I don't think he's got too many cards to take out, so bolts probably are still in, but chat saying land tax of the living dead. Yeah, sure, right? Wow. Well, Galen's gonna take this one in a, kind of surprising 2-1. I say surprising just because his deck was surprising to me. Not
I think both these decks are very creative.
Yeah.
And different. Brought a lot of interesting things to the table. And now we have one of these guys is 3-1 and one of these guys is 2-2.
Yeah, so Galen will advance to 3-1. Tweety will be at 2-2. We have 6 rounds in this middle school event. We have just shy of 50 players. So X1 probably locked for top 8. X2, I think there's going to be some people, out on breakers and some heartbreaks. So if you've dropped to X2, you got to fight the next 2 rounds to get. Yeah, you and me both. I dropped to X2 this week as well.
My breakers are good though, because I got 4-0 tie. If he wins this week, I assume, and then I've got 3-1 Daisuke. So those are my.
Okay.
So I beat Daisuke. It was a
That's
very good
good.
match.
That's good.
By the way, I have to say, everybody I've played, absolute gentlemen, like just wonderful people to play with. So if you're thinking about joining the league and you're unsure, the players in the league are, we're not that sweaty. We're here to we're, we're here to help. And I even though I've been playing for God, longer than many Magic players have been alive, I still need help from time to time, and everybody's been really good about it. There was one turn where Daisuke was like, "Don't you want to get your another spirit out of the graveyard?" I was like, "Yes, I do."
Yes.
So stuff like that, it's a pleasure to play with these guys.
It is one of the joys of playing these middle school leagues. We all now the players that have been playing a lot, we've all kind of become good friends, right? This is not your first time in the booth. It's not your first time on stream. You've been to a couple of our leagues, and we are nowhere close to each other, geographically. I've met a lot of cool people this way. And this year we have, I think, 6 or even 7 Japanese players playing, which is awesome. I love that they're not only interested in middle school, but they're interested enough to look out and find our leagues and come join them and play. It's not always easy with the time difference or maybe some language barriers, but it's been wonderful. It's been great.
I played in a Japanese league, and I played most of my matches in the morning, and it was a whole different. There's a whole different bunch of decks that they're playing, like things that I hadn't seen before. I'm like, oh, that's cool. This works really well.
Now, okay, you have to tell me about this league, because now I want to try it and
Well,
see what's different.
I mean, in at least 2 of my matches, people were trying out LED stuff, because LED had just been on.
Oh, sure.
And so they were really gung ho on that. And Raja and I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out ways to use LED. It's a big discussion in our team chats. But these guys were doing stuff that I don't remember, honestly, but it was just things that I was like, oh, you can do that too. Okay.
Yep.
And then, they're just really tight players, and a lot of the plays that they make, and I know I'm kind of overgeneralizing here, but there's just different thought patterns sometimes about the way things are going to play out. And so it's like, wait, why did they do that? And then you realize it's optimization and, thinking long term, stuff like that. So
Sure. Well,
I'm a much more emotion based player.
I can relate to that a bit. Absolutely. It's it's interesting because I was going back and looking, and we've done probably over 50 different videos, that we've created since we started doing the webcam leagues, and we've been doing them since the pandemic, and that was actually 4 years ago. So that's a lot of time to have been doing these leagues, and meeting a lot of interesting players. And it's a really cool opportunity. If you're just interested in playing the format, this is a great way to do it. If you actually want to get more involved in some of the Romancing the Stone stuff, if you win one of our leagues, you do get invited to our invitational. The Stones crew does have an invitational at the end of the year. And by winning either one of our vintage events or our middle school events, you get invited. And that is a multi-format event, 3 rounds of middle school with 3 rounds of vintage, with a cut to top 4 of vintage, typically. And it's a lot of fun. We've been able to stream the last 2 of those, so you can catch some of those videos, see what that's like. It's a lot to do if you want to kind of get involved. If you just want to try something, the events are proxy friendly, so you can play whatever you want. We just want you to show up and have fun. It's good.
It's a fun format. It's so wide open. I mean, just when you start to think things are starting to solidify, there's just new stuff. It's just like what we were just talking about last league was like a whole different top 8.
Right. Yeah. Our top 8s have changed a lot over the years. Like I was saying, like the deck that I won our second league with, I don't think is good enough at all anymore. So, right. It changes. It's fun.
Well, it's just really dynamic for a closed format.
Right. You're right. It is. It's closed. The only thing that's really changed is adding LED, right?
Yeah, adding LED. Did we unban Mind's Desire? I forget.
I don't think so.
We're not ready for that yet. Okay.
No. But, we'll see. We'll see. But that will do it for this stream. It's been lovely. We did bring you 2 matches of Magic. I've been Robert. I've been joined with Angelo.
And the best part is you didn't have to listen to us make up some crap about middle school.
This is true.
We had half a stream. We've been here you got your money's worth, folks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, cool. So we will bring another round of Magic next week, where we enter week 5. So week 5 and 6 is where we're going to really see our top players really try to solidify what our top 8 is going to look like. Assert dominance. Make sure that they are locked in. There are no draws in our leagues, so every player does have to play out. So you have to fight for every square inch of that top 8. But we're going to get real close to figuring out what that story looks like as we start next week and end this one. So we hope you all join us again, same time next week on Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Time. 8 p.m.-ish. We're still Magic players. You got to wrangle us. But it'll be fun. We hope to see you guys there.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Take it easy.
All right. Have a good night.